Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. There are many pieces of legislation that are being pushed through, and the House has seen a lot of them here very recently. And I wanted to go through this stuff because there are positive things happening in the legislation. Hopefully, we can get them kicked over the finish line. Some of these, obviously, not all pieces of legislation make it to the end. It takes a lot of elbow grease, I guess, to make that happen. So, as we go through this, if it's important to you, you think it's going to benefit the veteran and veteran sphere, right, including everybody. If you think it's something that's good, reach out to your congressional members, right? On the House, the Senate side, let them know that you support this piece of legislation, and you hope they do too. All right, so with that, let's jump into it. But before we do, I want to throw on a very special thank you to Michael Erickson, 3626. Michael Erickson, thank you so much for that super comment, super chat thing. I really do appreciate your support very much. Thank you. All right, so looking into this article kind of, I guess, encapsulates it a little bit here, and it includes it all, right? So it says over a dozen bills meant to improve VA services for veterans. This just came out on March 27th, 2025 by a Corey Smith at ABC 15 News, and I wanted to share it with you here today. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. All of those efforts really do help to send this message on to others, right, who are wondering what's going on. And the more of us that are aware and there's stuff that we support, we can then reach out to our congressional members and get them on the ball. All right, so jumping into it here, House lawmakers gathered this week to discuss more than a dozen bills meant to improve services for veterans and their survivors. So it's a big chunk of folks, and it's a big chunk of legislation when you're talking about more than a dozen bills. So Representative Luttrell from Texas, who chairs the subcommittee that held the hearing, said the slate of bills would help veterans and their survivors navigate the Department of Veterans Affairs claims and appeals process and improve access to VA benefits. He said the bill would ensure veterans can be buried together with their family members, improve the VA appeal process, which any of you that have been through it understand how that goes. It's lengthy. So improve that process, which is, I think, very important. Ensure there is medical research available to pave the way to compensate military pilots and air crew for conditions due to service-related radiation and other exposures. Make the VA claims process more transparent and understandable. That would be a good one. Ensure that VA issues accurate decisions on claims based on military sexual trauma, and require the VA to give equal attention to the needs of veteran survivors. Moving on, it says Luttrell introduced two bipartisan bills this month. One would prevent the VA from denying a veteran's benefit claim just because of a missed exam. Many of these veterans have pursued their VA claims for years and appeared for multiple exams. Luttrell said at a Wednesday hearing, veterans should not be forced to start their claims over because they missed one exam. Luttrell's other bill addresses cost of living adjustments. Let's see what that says. This bill would adjust certain VA benefits with inflation rates to help veterans and their families pay their bills and put food on the table, Luttrell said. Ranking member Morgan McGarvey from Kentucky said their committee is focused on veteran-centered policy that's not right or left, but concerned with what's right and wrong. Jim Whaley, I think it is, a 20-year Army veteran and CEO of an advocacy group called Mission Roll Call, which probably many of you are aware of, applauded the lawmakers' efforts to improve VA services. This has been something veteran support organizations have been looking for and asking for some time, Whaley said. And that is a more modern, more efficient, more effective VA. Whaley said he joined other veteran advocacy organizations last week in Washington, D.C., where they met with VA Secretary Doug Collins. Whaley said he believes Collins wants to do the same thing from the VA. Moving on, it says here, that there's some additional efforts as well. And Whaley was echoing McGarvey's sentiment from the hearing, said veterans' issues are largely bipartisan. And as they should be, right? Look, I get it. People like to be, team whatever, right? So there's a divide sometimes. There's a split on some things. But when it comes to veterans' issues, right, we all need to be on the same page. As veterans, as survivors, as spouses, as dependents, because we need to get things done for the veteran sphere. All right, so moving on. I think both sides of the aisle want to do right by veterans, Whaley said. They may approach it from different angles, but I think in their heart, they want to do what's best for veterans and their families. Whaley said he wants to see more progress toward stopping veteran suicide and homelessness. He praised a piece of pending legislation, the Veterans Access Act, that intended to boost community health care for veterans. Clearly, there has to be a way to allow veterans to get the health care they need when they need it and where they need it, Whaley said. And I think that's where the rubber hits the road. And I agree, right? I get it that from the I guess, short-sighted perspective, I want the VA that I have in my backyard. That's where I want to go. I don't want to lose that. Yes. However, there's people that don't have a VA in their backyard, and they're saying, look, I don't want to have to drive, or I can't drive, or I don't have a vehicle, or I'm semi-housebound, and I need somebody to drive me there. It's too cumbersome to go an hour and a half. I want care in my backyard. So, there's a bunch of different aspects, and we have to look at everybody. The healthcare side of the VA has 9 million enrolled veterans, so about half, right? Maybe just a hair over half of veterans are enrolled in healthcare. That is a higher number than veterans that are receiving veterans benefits. So on the benefits side of the department, they serve over 5.5 million veterans who receive pensions, survivors benefits, education assistance, home loan guarantees, and more. Whaley said they hear of two common pain points for veterans. One is around health care access. Most veterans want community care, he said, and veterans shouldn't have to wait months for an appointment, he said. The second pain point is with disability claims, which he said often take too long to adjudicate, which I think that pretty much everybody on here who has ever filed a claim, most people would say the claims process takes too long. What's too long? I would say, in my mind, a year is probably too long. Now, I remember filing a claim and it took 3 years, so for just a standard claim. So, that's a lot better than 3 years. But I would say the sweet spot is that kind of a 6 to 9 month time frame would be, in my opinion, adequate for a claims processing, for all the due diligence and going back and forth, and if you have to have a C&P exam and so forth. Granted, there was the changes made to where if you actually provide everything, they could eliminate the C&P exam requirement. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's going to shave a good month off of your claims process, right? Because now somebody didn't have to order the C&P, which means that that would have got scheduled a month out, and then you would have had to go there, and then they would have had to wrap it up, and then they would have had to send the information in, and that would have had to get reviewed. So really maybe almost 2 months off of your entire claim time. So with that, there's a lot of pieces of legislation moving, and we'll try to find them all here and share them with you. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you so much. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.